In the grand city of Brooksville, a mansion stood on a hill, shining in the morning sunlight. Its white walls and tall windows made it look like a palace. Inside lived the Thompson family. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson were rich, known for their business and social life. They had one daughter, Emily, who was 8 years old. Emily was not like other children. She had not spoken a single word since she was a baby. Doctors had examined her many times, but none could explain why she could not talk. The Thompson family loved her very much, yet they lived in a world where appearances mattered more than feelings. Visitors often stared at Emily in the living room, expecting a smile or a word, but she remained silent. Despite their wealth, Emily's parents were busy. Mr. Thompson spent most of his time in meetings and at his office. Mrs. Thompson often traveled to charity events and social gatherings. Emily spent most of her days alone in her room, reading books, drawing pictures, and watching the garden from her window. The walls of her room were filled with drawings of flowers, animals, and faraway places she dreamed to visit. But her heart often felt heavy. She wanted to speak, to ask questions, to laugh with someone, yet no sound ever came from her lips. The only person who truly cared for Emily was her maid, Rosa. Rosa was a kind and gentle woman in her 40s. She had worked for the Thompsons for many years. Unlike the other staff, Rosa never judged Emily for being silent. She understood that Emily had a heart full of thoughts but a voice trapped inside. Rosa spent her mornings preparing Emily's breakfast and helping her dress. She played games with Emily and told her stories in a soft, soothing voice. Emily would listen carefully, her eyes wide with wonder. One morning, Emily's silence seemed even deeper than usual. She sat by her window, watching the rain fall in thin lines across the garden. Rosa entered with a tray of breakfast. "Good morning, Emily," Rosa said warmly. "I made your favorite, pancakes with honey." Emily looked at Rosa and smiled slightly. That small smile was more precious than words to Rosa. She placed the tray on the small table beside Emily's bed. "I know you wish you could speak," Rosa said gently, "but don't worry. I will help you." Emily nodded. She wanted to try, but something inside her seemed to hold her back. Rosa understood that Emily needed more than patience. She needed courage. Rosa had a plan. She decided to spend more time with Emily every day, not just to care for her, but to help her find her voice. She started simple. She asked Emily to repeat small sounds. Ma, pa, ba. At first, Emily made little attempts, but nothing clear came out. Rosa clapped her hands and encouraged her. "Try again, Emily. You can do it. I know your voice is waiting." Days passed and the effort continued. Emily would sometimes make small noises, almost like whispers. Rosa would cheer and Emily's eyes would light up. Slowly, Emily began to feel a connection between her thoughts and her mouth. It was as if a tiny bridge was forming inside her, ready to carry her words to the world. Meanwhile, the Thompson parents were busy with their lives. They noticed the extra attention Rosa was giving Emily, but they thought it was normal. "Rosa is good with her," Mrs. Thompson said once, sipping tea in the drawing room. "Emily is lucky to have someone so patient." Emily, however, began to feel a strange sense of hope. She realized she could try to speak without fear. One afternoon, while sitting in the garden, she pointed to a bird on the branch. She opened her mouth and tried to say, "Bird." The sound that came out was soft and broken, almost like a whisper, but it was the first real word she had spoken. Rosa gasped and clutched Emily's hand. "You did it. That was your first word, Emily. Do you know how amazing that is?" Rosa exclaimed, her eyes shining with tears. Emily looked at Rosa, surprised by the sound she made. She tried again, and this time the word was clearer. "Bird," she said. Her small voice filled the garden, and the raindrops seemed to pause as if listening. From that day, Emily practiced every moment she could with Rosa. She repeated words, names, and simple sentences. She spoke about the flowers in the garden, the sky, and the small animals that visited the yard. Rosa listened patiently and encouraged her with gentle words. One evening after dinner, Emily sat in the library with Rosa. The room smelled of old books and polished wood. Emily picked up a picture book and pointed at a drawing of a cat. "Cat," she said softly. Rosa's face lit up like a morning sunrise. "You are wonderful, Emily," Rosa whispered. "I know you have so much to say, and I will help you say it." Emily smiled. That night she went to bed with a feeling she had never felt before. She felt powerful. She realized that her silence was ending and her voice was finally beginning to appear. However, outside the warm walls of the mansion, The world was not ready for this change. Some people in the neighborhood had always whispered about Emily. They thought she was strange because she could not speak. Some even doubted her family's care. Rosa knew that one day, the truth about Emily's silence would come out and it might surprise everyone. The next morning, Emily woke up early, full of excitement. She ran to the window and looked at the sun rising above the city. Rosa followed with breakfast. "Today we will try something new," Rosa said. "We will try speaking in sentences. You can tell me about your day or your dreams." Emily's eyes widened. She had dreams she wanted to share, places she wanted to see, and stories she wanted to tell. Rosa handed her a small notebook and pencil. "Write your words first, then say them. It will help you remember them," Rosa suggested. Emily nodded and began writing. She wrote, "I see the sun. I like the flowers." Then she read aloud slowly. "I see the sun. I like the flowers." Her voice was shaky, but it was her voice. Rosa clapped softly. "You see, Emily? Your voice is inside you. You only need courage to let it out," Rosa said, her eyes full of warmth. As days turned into weeks, Emily's confidence grew. She began speaking more clearly, making longer sentences and even laughing at jokes. Her parents noticed the change, but thought it was only temporary. They did not yet understand the depth of Emily's growth. Emily's first real conversations happened with Rosa. They spoke about colors, animals, and dreams of traveling the world. Emily learned that words could carry feelings and thoughts she could not express before. She was no longer trapped in silence. But Emily had a secret she had not told anyone yet. She remembered the reason for her silence, a reason so deep that even her parents did not know. Rosa had sensed it, but waited patiently for Emily to trust her. One day, Emily would tell Rosa everything. She knew that Rosa would understand, just like she had understood every small sound Emily had made so far. Until that day, Emily practiced speaking, discovering new words, and exploring the beauty of language. She laughed more, sang softly to herself, and even whispered stories to the garden birds. The mansion, once filled with silence, now echoed with Emily's growing voice. And in the heart of that mansion, Rosa smiled every day, knowing that the girl she had cared for was finally finding her place in the world. Little did anyone know, the journey Emily had begun would not just bring her voice but also reveal a truth that would surprise everyone in Brooksville. Days passed in the Thompson mansion, and Emily's world began to change. Her voice was still soft and shy, but it was growing stronger with each passing moment. She could now say short sentences, laugh freely, and even ask questions. The sound of her voice filled the halls of the mansion, and it was like a small sun rising in every room. Rosa was delighted with Emily's progress. Every morning, she would greet her with a warm smile and a simple question. "Emily, what do you want to do today?" Emily often replied with excitement. "I want to go to the garden, Rosa. The flowers are so bright today." Rosa laughed softly. "Then let's go. I will walk with you." Together they wandered into the garden where sunlight glimmered on the wet grass. The flowers were in full bloom and birds sang from the trees. Emily ran to a patch of roses and knelt down to touch the petals. "They are soft," she whispered. Rosa nodded, kneeling beside her. "Yes, they are. Nature has a gentle way of teaching us." Emily smiled and said, "I like gentle things." Rosa's heart filled with warmth. She knew Emily's words were more than just sounds. They were the opening of a world that had been closed for so many years. But as Emily spoke more, she also began to ask questions about herself. Questions she had never dared to ask before. "Rosa," she said one afternoon, "why could I not speak when I was little?" Rosa hesitated. She knew the truth, but she also understood that Emily needed time to be ready. "Emily, some things take time to understand," she said carefully. "You are very brave. One day you will know everything." Emily frowned slightly, her small brow furrowing. "I want to know now. I want to understand." Rosa took a deep breath. She held Emily's small hands gently. "All right, but you must promise to listen carefully and not be afraid." Emily nodded eagerly, her eyes wide. Rosa had never seen such determination in her. "Emily," Rosa began, her voice soft, "when you were born, there were things that scared your parents. They did not know how to help you. Doctors could not explain why you could not speak, and they were afraid that you might never talk. Sometimes fear makes people do strange things, but you were always loved even when no one understood. Emily listened, her heart beating fast. She wanted to know more, but she also felt a little scared. "What things, Rosa?" she asked softly. Rosa looked at Emily with a gentle seriousness. "There were stories told about children like you who could not speak because they felt too much inside. It was not a sickness or a mistake. You had feelings and thoughts so strong that your voice waited until you were ready. You were learning to understand the world before speaking." Emily's eyes filled with wonder. "So it was not my fault?" Rosa shook her head. "Never your fault. You are special, Emily, and now your voice is ready to be heard." Emily smiled, feeling a warmth she had never felt before. For the first time, she understood that her silence was not a curse, but a gift. It had allowed her to see, feel, and think in ways others could not. From that day, Emily began to ask more questions about her life, her family, and the world outside the mansion. Rosa answered them patiently, explaining things in ways Emily could understand. One evening, Emily sat by the fireplace, drawing in her notebook. Rosa watched her heart full of pride. Emily had drawn a picture of herself standing in the garden, surrounded by flowers and birds. Above her head, she had written her first sentence in clear letters. "I am not afraid anymore." Rosa smiled. "That is wonderful, Emily. You are very brave." Emily looked at Rosa with shining eyes. "Rosa, will you always be with me?" "Always, Emily. I will always be here for you," Rosa promised. As Emily grew more confident with her words, she also grew curious about the mansion and the staff. She began to notice the quiet ways her parents behaved. They seemed to move carefully around her, speaking in low voices and sometimes glancing at each other with worry. Emily could feel their tension, even if she did not understand all of it. One afternoon, while playing in the garden, Emily asked Rosa a question that had been on her mind. "Rosa, why do Mama and Papa seem worried when I talk?" Rosa paused, thinking carefully. "Your parents love you very much, Emily, but they have been carrying a secret about your family. One day you will understand it all. For now, focus on finding your voice. Everything else will come in time." Emily nodded slowly, sensing that there was more to her life than she had known. But she trusted Rosa completely, and that trust made her feel safe. Days turned into weeks, and Emily's voice became stronger. She could now sing softly, recite poems, and even tell small stories. Rosa listened to her every day, sometimes clapping, sometimes laughing, and sometimes just holding Emily's hand in quiet pride. One rainy afternoon, Emily and Rosa sat by the window, watching the drops fall on the garden. Emily was trying to read aloud from a storybook. Her words stumbled at first, but Rosa encouraged her gently. "You are doing beautifully, Emily. Remember, every word you speak is a step forward." Emily took a deep breath and read, "The sun shines bright and warms the hearts of all." She smiled at Rosa, proud of herself. Rosa smiled back. "Exactly, Emily. Your words can make the world brighter too." As the rain fell, Emily began to feel something else, an urge to discover the truth about herself and her family. She remembered little moments from her early years, glimpses of conversations she had not understood, and the quiet expressions on her parents' faces. That night, Emily went to sleep thinking about the garden, the birds, and the flowers, but she also thought about the secret her parents had kept and the courage she would need to uncover it. Rosa sat by her bedside, brushing Emily's hair gently. "Sleep well, Emily," Rosa whispered. "Tomorrow is another day for words and stories, and one day you will know everything you wish to know." Emily closed her eyes, feeling safe and loved. For the first time in her life, she believed that she could not only speak, but also face the truth. Little did Emily know, the secret of her silence was deeper than she imagined. It was connected to the past, to choices made by people she trusted, and to a truth that would change her life forever. Rosa had prepared her heart and mind for the day when the truth would come out. In the quiet mansion, Emily slept peacefully, dreaming of a world where her voice could soar freely. Outside, the rain stopped, leaving a fresh, clean scent in the garden. The flowers shone in the morning light, and the birds returned to sing. It was as if nature itself was welcoming Emily's new voice and the journey she was about to take. Rosa watched her from the doorway, her heart full of hope. She knew that Emily's first words were only the beginning. One day, Emily would speak the truth that had been hidden for so long, and when that day came, it would change everything in Brooksville. Until then, Rosa would stay by Emily's side, guiding her gently, encouraging her every word, and protecting her heart. Together they were ready for the adventure that lay ahead, a journey of courage, discovery, and the unveiling of a remarkable truth. Emily's world had begun to bloom like the flowers in the garden. Every day she discovered something new about her voice, her feelings, and the beauty of sharing her thoughts. Yet even as her confidence grew, a quiet question lingered in her mind. Why had she been silent all these years? What was the secret her parents seemed to hide? Rosa noticed the change in Emily. The girl was no longer afraid to speak, and her curiosity had become sharper. "Emily," Rosa said one afternoon, "I can see that you are ready for more. But remember, some truths take time. You must be patient." Emily nodded. "I will be patient, Rosa, but I also want to know." "I want to understand everything," Rosa smiled. She had always known that Emily's courage would lead her to the truth. "Very well," she said. "I will tell you what I can, but you must promise to listen carefully," Emily promised. Her small hand rested in Rosa's, and her eyes sparkled with determination. "There was a time before you were born," Rosa began, her voice steady but soft. "Your family had wealth and influence, but they also carried worries. Your father had business rivals, and your mother faced pressure to maintain appearances. When you were born, everyone wanted you to be perfect, but life does not always follow our wishes." Emily listened carefully, her eyes wide. "Is that why I could not speak?" she asked softly. Rosa nodded. "Partly. Your parents loved you, but they were afraid that your differences might be seen as a weakness. They did not know how to help you." The silence that followed was not punishment, but a result of fear and misunderstanding. "You were safe, Emily, even if you did not know it." Emily felt a mixture of relief and sadness. Relief because she now understood that her silence was not her fault, and sadness because her parents had hidden the truth from her. "Did Mama and Papa ever notice me?" she asked. "Yes," Rosa replied gently. "They noticed every small movement, every glance, every tiny attempt to communicate. They loved you deeply, but they did not have the wisdom to guide you in the way you needed. That is why I was there for you. I was your voice when you could not speak." Emily's eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Rosa. You helped me find my words. You helped me be brave." Rosa smiled and held Emily close. "And you, my dear, are very brave. But there is more. One day the world will hear your full story, and it will surprise everyone. Your silence hides a truth that must be revealed carefully." Emily's curiosity deepened. "What truth, Rosa?" Rosa shook her head softly. "Not yet, Emily, the time will come. First, you must be strong and continue to find your voice. The world can be unkind when it does not understand." Over the next few days, Emily practiced speaking even more. She read stories aloud, sang simple songs, and even asked Rosa to teach her new words. The mansion, once quiet, was now filled with the sounds of Emily's growing voice. The staff, who had worked there for years, were surprised at the change. They whispered among themselves about how brave and talented Emily had become. One morning, Emily noticed something unusual in the study. It was a box, slightly hidden behind the bookshelf. She called Rosa over. "Rosa, what is this?" Emily asked, pointing to the box. Rosa glanced at it carefully. "That box has papers and letters that belong to your parents," she said. "Some of them might help you understand the past. But you must be careful. Some truths are delicate." Emily's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Can we see them, Rosa?" Rosa nodded. "Yes, but only a few at a time. We will read them together." They opened the box and found letters tied with ribbons, old photographs, and small notes. Emily picked up a photograph of a little girl she had never seen before. The girl's face was curious, bright, and smiling. Emily felt a strange connection. "Who is she, Rosa?" Emily asked softly. "That was a child your parents knew before you were born," Rosa explained. "She had a problem similar to yours. Your parents learned from her experience, but some things they could not change. They hoped that when you came, everything would be different." Emily touched the photograph gently. "Did she talk?" Rosa shook her head. "Not much, but she taught everyone patience. Your parents wanted the same for you, but fear and pride sometimes make people act differently. You have grown beyond that, Emily. You are learning faster than anyone imagined." Emily smiled faintly. "I want to know everything, Rosa. I want to understand why my life was quiet for so long." Rosa took a deep breath. "You will, Emily. The truth will come, but it must be handled with care. Some people are not ready to hear it, and some events can change lives. For now, you have your voice, and that is the beginning of everything. Days turned into weeks. Emily became bolder with her words. She spoke to her parents more often, though they were sometimes startled by her new confidence. Mr. Thompson would glance at his wife with surprise when Emily asked a question or made a comment during breakfast. Mrs. Thompson would smile nervously but encourage her. One afternoon, Emily asked, "Mama, Papa, why did no one tell me the full story before?" Mr. Thompson looked at Emily carefully. "We wanted to protect you," he said softly. "We thought the truth might be too heavy for you when you were small." Emily nodded slowly. "But Rosa helped me. She made me brave." Mrs. Thompson's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, Rosa has been a blessing. She gave you courage we could not give. We are thankful every day for her." Emily felt a warmth in her heart. She knew that her parents loved her, even if they had made mistakes. And she knew that Rosa had been her true guide. That evening, Emily sat by the fireplace with Rosa once again. "Rosa, I feel ready," she said quietly. "I want to know the whole truth. I want to understand my life." Rosa looked at her with pride. "Very well, Emily. Tomorrow we will read more letters and documents from the past. You will learn what has been hidden and why. You must promise to be strong and listen carefully." "I promise," Emily said, gripping Rosa's hand. As Emily went to bed that night, she felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The secret she had been waiting for was close. She had grown so much, finding her voice and courage. Now the journey to discover the truth was about to begin. Outside, the mansion was quiet. The garden was covered in soft moonlight, and the flowers seemed to nod gently in the breeze. Birds slept in the trees, unaware of the changes happening inside the walls. But inside, Emily's small heart was ready to face the truth, no matter how surprising it might be. Rosa stayed by her side, watching over her as she slept. She knew that Emily's first steps into the world of words had prepared her for the secrets that lay ahead. And when the time came, the truth would shine, revealing a story that would touch everyone in Brooksville. The night passed quietly, but the mansion seemed alive with anticipation. Emily's voice was no longer just a sound. It was a bridge to the past, a key to understanding, and a light for the future. Tomorrow would bring the unveiling of secrets, the answers Emily had waited for, and the moment when the truth of her silence would finally be revealed. And Rosa would be there, guiding her gently, ready to face whatever came next. The next morning, Emily awoke with a sense of determination she had never felt before. The sunlight streamed through her window, casting golden patterns on the floor. Today was the day she would learn the truth about her life, the reason for her silence, and the secrets her parents had kept hidden. Rosa was already in the room, smiling gently, ready to guide her. "Good morning, Emily," Rosa said softly. "Are you ready?" Emily nodded. "Yes, Rosa, I want to know everything now." They walked together to the study, where the old box of letters and papers waited. Rosa opened it carefully and laid out several documents. Some were letters from doctors, others were personal notes from Emily's parents, and a few were photographs from years past. Emily's small hands trembled slightly as she reached for a letter with her name on it. "This one is for you," Rosa said. "It was written when you were born, but kept hidden for many years. Your parents wanted you to read it when you were ready." Emily opened the letter and began to read. The handwriting was elegant and the words spoke directly to her heart. "Dear Emily, when you were born, we did not know the path your life would take. You were a special child, full of thoughts and feelings beyond what we could understand. Your silence was never a mistake. It was a sign of your strength. We hoped you would speak when you were ready. We love you more than words can express." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. She looked at Rosa. "They loved me, even when I could not speak?" Rosa nodded. "Yes, Emily, they always loved you. They just did not know how to help you find your voice." Emily took a deep breath and read further. The letter revealed that her parents had been warned by doctors that Emily might face challenges with speaking. They had been advised to use therapies, but their busy lives and fear of social judgment had prevented them from acting fully. Rosa had stepped in to provide the care, patience, and guidance that Emily needed. Emily looked at Rosa with gratitude. "I understand now. You were my voice when I could not speak. You helped me grow." Rosa smiled. "And now your voice is your own. You can speak for yourself, Emily. That is why the truth must be revealed carefully. The world is not always understanding, but you are strong enough." Emily's curiosity grew. She picked up a photograph of a woman she did not recognize. She asked Rosa, "Who is she?" "That is your mother when she was young," Rosa explained. She was not always confident. Life put pressures on her, too. She wanted the best for you, but sometimes made mistakes in protecting you. Emily nodded slowly. She began to see her parents as real people, not just the authority figures she had known. Their love was genuine, even if imperfect. Next, Rosa showed Emily a series of letters from a woman named Mrs. Hayes. The letters described a young child who had faced similar challenges to Emily's. Emily realized that the woman had been a teacher and mentor who advised her parents to be patient. Emily read one letter aloud. "Your child has a unique spirit. Give her time, give her understanding, and she will speak when she is ready. Do not rush her, for her voice will bring wisdom and courage beyond measure." Emily looked at Rosa in amazement. "So they were always trying? Even when it seemed quiet?" "Yes, Emily. Sometimes love is quiet, but it is always there," Rosa said softly. The final documents were personal notes from her parents, written after Emily had begun to speak. They expressed their pride, apologies for their mistakes, and hopes for her future. Emily felt a warm glow in her heart. She understood that her parents' silence about the past was not cruelty but fear and worry. After reading everything, Emily looked at Rosa. "I know the truth now. My silence was not a curse. It was part of who I am, and I can be brave." Rosa hugged Emily tightly. "You are the bravest child I have ever known. You found your voice and now you understand your story. That is a gift not everyone receives." With the truth revealed, Emily felt lighter than ever. She wanted to speak to her parents about what she had learned. She wanted to tell them that she forgave them and that she understood their fears. That evening, Emily gathered her courage. She walked to the living room where her parents were reading. Her small voice rang clearly and confidently. "Mama, Papa, I know the truth now. I understand why I could not speak before. I forgive you and I love you." Her parents looked up, surprised and moved. Mrs. Thompson's eyes filled with tears. "Emily, you understand?" "Yes," Emily said, smiling. "I understand everything now, and I know Rosa helped me find my voice. I am grateful to her, and I am grateful to you." Mr. Thompson stood and hugged Emily. "We are proud of you, Emily. You are stronger than we ever imagined. Your courage is our greatest gift." The room was filled with warmth. For the first time, Emily felt truly understood by her parents. The mansion, once quiet and filled with tension, now echoed with joy and relief. In the days that followed, Emily continued to speak freely. She shared stories, asked questions, and even read books aloud to her parents. She laughed, sang, and told jokes, filling the home with life. Rosa watched every moment with pride, knowing that Emily had reached a point few children ever do, understanding themselves and their family. One afternoon, Emily and Rosa were in the garden, surrounded by flowers and birds. Emily turned to Rosa with a thoughtful expression. "Rosa, will people understand my story outside this house?" Rosa considered carefully. "Some will understand and some may not. But the most important thing is that you know the truth. You are ready to face the world with courage and honesty. Your voice is strong and your story is powerful." Emily nodded. "I am ready. I want to share my story one day so others can learn from it." Rosa smiled. "And when that day comes, Emily, you will inspire many hearts. Your journey from silence to speech is a lesson in patience, love, and courage." As the sun began to set, casting golden light across the garden, Emily felt a deep sense of peace. She knew that the days of fear and uncertainty were behind her. Her voice was no longer just a sound. It was a symbol of strength, a bridge to understanding, and a promise of hope. Her parents joined them in the garden, holding hands and smiling. They had witnessed Emily's transformation from a silent child to a brave, confident girl. For the first time, the family felt completely united, not just by wealth or appearances, but by love, understanding, and truth. That night, as Emily went to bed, she whispered softly to Rosa, "Thank you for helping me find my voice in the truth." Rosa kissed her forehead gently. "It was always inside you, Emily. I only helped you discover it. Now your voice will guide you and your courage will lead the way." Emily closed her eyes with a calm smile. She had faced her fears, uncovered the truth about her life, and found her place in the world. The mansion, once a silent and tense place, now thrived with laughter, stories, and love. And Emily knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she could meet them with her voice, her heart, and the guidance of the one person who had always believed in her, Rosa. The next morning, Emily woke up excited. She had learned her family's secret, forgiven the past, and embraced her own strength. The future was wide open, full of possibilities, and she was ready to face it with courage. The truth had come out, but it had brought freedom, understanding, and hope. Emily was no longer the silent child of the mansion. She was a girl with a voice, a story, and a heart ready to shine. The mansion felt alive in a way it never had before. Emily's laughter echoed through the halls. Her small footsteps ran freely across the polished floors, and her words filled every corner. The silent child of the Thompson family had become a girl with a voice, and that voice carried more than sound. It carried courage, hope, and love. Emily woke early that morning, the sun spilling gold across her room. She had spent the past few days speaking openly with her parents, sharing stories, asking questions, and laughing in ways she had never imagined. But today felt different. Today she wanted to do more than speak at home. She wanted to show the world who she had become. Rosa knocked gently and entered with a tray of breakfast. "Good morning, Emily. You seem excited today." "I am, Rosa," Emily said, her eyes shining. "I want to tell people my story. I want them to understand like I understand now." Rosa smiled proudly. "That is a brave idea, Emily. Your voice is ready to be shared, and I will be with you every step of the way." After breakfast, Emily and Rosa prepared carefully. They reviewed the story of Emily's early years, her silence, the guidance Rosa had given, and the truth about her parents' intentions. Emily practiced her words, speaking clearly and confidently. Her parents watched quietly, pride shining in their eyes. They had seen their daughter transform from a quiet, uncertain child into a brave girl who could face the world. Finally, Emily felt ready. She stepped into the grand hall where the family often hosted guests and spoke aloud to her parents first. "Mama, Papa, I am ready," she said. "I want to share my story with others. I want them to know the truth and feel hope." Mrs. Thompson held her daughter's hand. "We are proud of you, Emily. Speak with your heart." Emily nodded. She took a deep breath and began. She told the story of her early years, of her silence, and of the quiet courage it had taken to find her voice. She spoke of Rosa, the woman who had patiently guided her, encouraged her, and believed in her when no one else fully understood. She shared the letters and documents she had read, and how they had helped her forgive her parents and understand the love that had always been there. Her parents listened, their eyes filled with tears. The mansion seemed to hum with the power of her words. Emily continued, explaining that silence was not weakness, and patience and understanding could help anyone find their voice. When she finished, there was a moment of quiet. Then her parents embraced her, their pride overflowing. Rosa knelt beside Emily, holding her hand tightly, smiling with joy. "You have done beautifully, Emily," Rosa said softly. "Your words will touch many hearts." Over the next few weeks, Emily's story began to spread. Her parents decided to share it with friends in the community, not for attention, but to inspire hope. People came to the mansion to hear Emily speak. Some were parents of children with challenges, others were teachers, and some were neighbors who had once whispered about Emily's silence. All of them were moved by her courage and honesty. Emily spoke with calm confidence. She encouraged others to be patient, to listen carefully, and to believe in the potential of every child. Her words were simple, but they carried a strength that touched everyone. Parents thanked her for giving them hope. Teachers praised her for showing understanding, and children smiled, realizing that silence did not mean weakness. One afternoon, Emily sat in the garden with her parents and Rosa. The flowers glowed in the sunlight and birds sang from the trees. Emily spoke softly yet with certainty. "I want to help others like me," she said. "I want children who cannot speak to know they are not alone. I want them to find their voices just as I did." Mr. Thompson held Emily's hand. "We will help you, Emily. Your courage is a gift, and we will use it to make a difference." Mrs. Thompson nodded. "Rosa will be with us, guiding us all. Together we can help others understand and grow." Rosa smiled, tears in her eyes. "Emily, you have already changed lives with your story, and this is only the beginning." Emily felt a deep sense of purpose. She realized that her journey from silence to speech had not only transformed her own life but also the lives of those around her. Her voice had become a light, showing others that hope and courage could overcome fear and misunderstanding. In the months that followed, Emily continued to share her story. She visited schools, community centers, and gatherings, speaking to children and adults alike. People admired her bravery and her honesty. Her story became a symbol of patience, love, and the power of guidance. Rosa remained by her side, always encouraging, always supporting. At home, the Thompson family grew closer than ever. Emily's parents learned to communicate openly, not just with her, but with each other. They discovered the joy of listening carefully, understanding deeply, and expressing love freely. The mansion, once filled with silence and tension, now echoed with laughter, conversation, and warmth. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of gold and pink, Emily sat in the garden with Rosa. "Rosa," Emily said softly, "I am so grateful to you. You believed in me when no one else could. You helped me find my voice and understand my life. I will never forget you." Rosa gently held Emily's hand. "Emily, it was always inside you. I only helped you discover it. You have done all the hard work. You are brave, strong, and wise beyond your years." Emily smiled. "I will use my voice to help others. I will make sure no child feels alone like I did." "That is a wonderful promise, Emily," Rosa said, "and I know you will keep it." As the stars began to appear in the night sky, Emily felt a sense of peace and happiness she had never known. She was no longer the silent child of the mansion. She was a girl with a voice, a story, and a heart full of courage. Her journey had started with silence, but it had led her to understanding, love, and the power to inspire others. Emily realized that her silence had been a gift, teaching her patience, empathy, and determination. And now, with her voice, she could change the world in ways she had never imagined. The mansion, bathed in moonlight, stood quietly around them. Yet inside there was no silence. Emily's laughter, her words, and the love of her family and Rosa filled every corner. Her voice had become a bridge, not just to the past, but to the future, carrying hope, courage, and understanding to everyone who heard it. And so, Emily's life continued, full of stories, adventures, and the promise of helping others find their voices. She had faced her fears, uncovered the truth, and embraced her strength. With Rosa by her side and her parents' love surrounding her, Emily knew she could face any challenge, speak her heart freely, and shine brightly in the world. Her story, born from silence, had grown into a legacy of courage and hope, and the girl who once could not speak had become a voice for all, showing that even the quietest hearts could change the world.